What's up, guys? Valen's Ring here, and I'm bringing you another video while I have time, of course. And this one was a special request, and honestly a lot of people do ask about this, so I did want to shout out Evander Marvel here. Thanks for asking about might and increasing might. I understand, especially for a lot of casual players or players that don't have a ton of time, one of the biggest questions that you might have is, how do I increase my might? If you look right here, you can see that I have 146 million might, and a lot of people are like, wow, that's such a big number, and it definitely is, especially as a newer player. You see these might numbers and it just looks like impossible to reach. Let me tell you really quick, it is not impossible to reach, and this video is going to break down the basics of how to increase your might, especially if you don't want to spend, let's say, a ton of money and things like that. Obviously, if you look, you can see one of the biggest ways to increase might, and actually, let me back up. Looking at might, this is a rating of your overall strength, and that's an important note to make because it's based on your commander level, your research tech, your buildings, your combat units, traps, heroes, gear, chips, glory levels, modules, etc. So basically every aspect of your sanctuary increases your might, and that is good to know. So just because I have a large might number doesn't necessarily mean that that's how strong I am military wise. So let's talk really quick. One of the best ways to increase your overall might and increase your tactical skill, your ability to fight in military situations, is going to be your gear setup. And this includes your gear, your build set, and your tech set. If you don't have these, if you haven't spent any money on them, then you're not going to have that might. It does give a slight increase, but it doesn't necessarily benefit you military-wise. Your gear, on the other hand, does give a direct correlation from might to military skill and ability. Maybe not skill, but definitely ability. The stronger you are, the easier battles will be, especially with similar might players that maybe their might is based on different things, such as build gear and tech gear. So gear and chips, modules and cubes, all of these are great ways to increase your might. As you can see, like this cube module requires level 31 gear factory. So upgrading your headquarters to the highest level that you can sustain, obviously, in short periods of time, is going to give you an overall might boost that's higher than almost anything else, because it's going to unlock more things for you. Level 30 gear factory is going to unlock my 4th module spot. Being able to add a 4th module, 3 modules to that 4th spot, is going to give me a big might increase. Chips, you can have 6, and these are one of the easiest and quickest ways that you're going to gain might early on in the game. It's one of the first things that unlocks after gear directly. So understanding all of those, and I'll be honest, each one of those could be a topic on its own, and it could be its own video, so I'm not going to go into great detail in them. Just so you know, you want to constantly be upgrading all of them. Gear is essentially essential and important for military tactics, but chip module are more for specializing in troops, because you can boost specifically the ones that you want up. For instance, you can see that I've focused on my shooter module for each of these, and fighter module, I was originally fighter based and I switched to shooter based. So you can see how chip and module allows you to specialize, but the might increases are a little bit less than gear. At any rate, like I said, that could be a whole nother topic just on those individual items. I want to go over the overall might increase and how you can improve as a commander overall. So right here we do have the might button, and this is the little arrow that looks like it's going up, because of course we want to improve our might, and this is the improve might tab. When you go in here, it will tell you kind of a general basis of where you're at strength wise, and I do believe, I can't swear to this, but I do believe that it's ranked based upon a comparison between where you're at, let's say headquarters wise, maybe playtime wise, comparatively speaking, to similar players. In other words, maybe you've been playing the same length of time or have the same headquarters upgrade level. Where is your ranking at? As you can see here, my hero rating is 100% and gear rating is 100%. So most of my might has been focused on heroes and gear. And that's not a bad thing because a lot of that is for military purposes. So I do want to be strong in those areas. And I personally, my preference is heroes. I enjoy that aspect of the game. That might not be something for everyone. However, you do want your hero ratings up, and that matters a significant amount. As you can see, I have all the heroes. Almost all of them are at least +1. I think I actually got my last hero to +1. Many of them are +5, which is the highest level some of them can go. And yes, I have all my heroes are over +0. A lot of my might comes from my heroes. And how you know this, you can actually come in here, and outside of your might ranking, you can come into your might record. This is your commander record. If you don't know where it's at, it's in your, basically, your commander interface. You click your avatar, and then down here on the bottom, it'll say commander record. And the very first tab that is pulled up is the might record. As you can see, you can remove gear and chips and switch things around, so you have the history high and your current high. For the most part, they should match. You want the highest might possible. Some people will try and do different things for different reasons. I'm not going to get into that. At any rate, having the history and current should be the same. And if they're different, then you want your current to be high as possible. At any rate, this will show you the complete breakdown, and this is my breakdown of where all my might actually comes from. I want to make a quick note here. Look at this. Look at my heroes. 53 million might, okay, is just in heroes. So let that sink in for a second. Not gear, not chips, not mod, nothing else, just heroes. 53 million might. So if you're like, I have 30 million, 40 million might, how do I get higher in might? You can have 53 million might just in heroes alone, and that will take time. I haven't spent a lot of money on heroes. It's literally a matter of time and me focusing on them. I run a lot of layers and I build my heroes up that way. Now look at the second highest number here. 47, almost 48 million might in units. So just in case you're unaware, I only have T9 units right now. I'm still working on Headquarters 30, which is where you'll start being able to unlock tier 10 troops. Now tier 10 troops are a big might increase from tier 9, even though they're not necessarily that much stronger. It is a big might increase. Not a lot of players have 146 million might with tier 9 troops. However, early on in the game, I was trying to get as many troops as possible, and I spent a lot of time and resources on just building up my troops. So you can see I have almost 48 million might just in troops alone. If you come over to my parade grounds, you'll see the top, my total units is over 1 million. This is where most of my might comes from outside of heroes. It is the biggest factor in my might. So the amount of heroes that I have, or the amount of troops that I have, you can see I have over 321,000 tier 9 captains, fighters, and over 300,000 shooters, over 200,000 riders, and technically I have over 200,000 vehicles, although some of them are still tier 1. I'm saving resources to build them up during Global Ace Commander event day when you can train troops. And I have some tier 8 veterans. I think that was I accidentally hit the wrong one. That was a mistake, not supposed to be there, and I keep forgetting to upgrade them. At any rate, your traps also play a factor, and they're also in your parade ground. You'll see I have plenty of traps, and a lot of them are higher level. So let's come back over to the commander record. You will see again, like I said, heroes and units comprises over 100 million might. Okay, so those things take time and resources to build up. You're not going to get those overnight. But what you can do is see where you're at and where you're weak. And how you know where you're weak is not by the commander record, but by hitting this little up arrow and seeing where you can improve your might. As you can see, my chip rating is pretty good. It's almost 100%. My EVA rating is deplorable. I have so much room for growth in EVA. It's only 35.2%, which means that probably most players where I'm at, sanctuary-wise or based on time of play, have a much better EVA rating than I do, like 65%. So I need to focus on that even though I don't want to, which is why it's so low. Module rating is getting up there, and I'd like to see that at 100% almost before chips. As soon as I hit headquarters level 30, I'll be able to add another module, and that should drastically increase my might. Cube rating's at 50.9%. It's not bad. Cubes are one of the hardest items to upgrade. The material doesn't come very fast. You do get some for completing your dailies. You get some random boxes, but cubes are going to be kind of a slow growth item, especially for those middle tier, late tier players that are playing later in game. So don't feel too bad. And if you aren't there yet, you don't have cubes yet, that's another reason your might isn't going to be as high. You need to unlock cubes to be able to unlock all facets of your growth and development. That comes later. So one thing I wanted to point out, and this is so you can kind of gauge where you're at and what you need to be pushing for, is hit your headquarters, and there's the exclamation point at the top right corner. Go ahead, select that, and you will see the breakdown of the headquarters level and what it potentially unlocks. And there's one other area I'll need to show you, but you can see that EVA unlocks at 10, Mystery Shop at 11, unlock modules, and I think Rare Earth Pit at 16, and then pretty much nothing else. Now that's a little bit misleading because actually a lot happens after headquarters level 16, which a lot of you are going to already understand. But that is a good place, especially for beginning players, to understand kind of where they're at and what's coming next. Gear Factory is where you're going to see the next ability to improve stuff by going up and hitting that same exclamation point. And you'll see exactly which gear, chip, modules, and cubes you'll be able to upgrade next if you keep your Gear Factory leveled up with your headquarters. So for instance, at level 8, which you have to have headquarters level 8, then you can insert unit chips. Then at 15, you can insert troop chips, and troop chips are vastly important. I talk about them for Arena Hero Duel Glory. And then you got your first set of modules at 16, and that's also when Rare Earth opens up. 16 is a big headquarters upgrade, and it should be kind of the first thing that you really push to. And I think it also, at that point, you can unlock, I forget, tier 5, 6. You can see at level 20, you can insert your second module, 22 your third, and then 25 is that next big upgrade for your headquarters where you can start putting in cubes. Getting to headquarters level 25 is not easy, but be patient, save your resources, play smart, and utilize capitalizing, maximizing on events to get the maximum rewards possible by saving, like I've talked about in multiple videos, so that you can get to headquarters level 25. Headquarters level 25, I do believe, is right before Tier 9 troops. Tier 9 troops come out at headquarters level 26. But getting to 25, you get cubes. And then the very next upgrade, you're going to get Tier 9. Very, very critical area of growth. And that's where you're going to start seeing some of those might jumps. You're going to start seeing you go from 40, 50, 60 million might up to 100 million might very quickly. Okay, guys, so I want you to make sure that you're able to understand where you can look and see what's coming, what you need to shoot for, and how you can improve those might numbers. Obviously, once you get to level 33, that's when you unlock the last set of modules, your 5th set, which is really huge. And then, of course, headquarters level 35, you'll unlock tier 11 troops. There aren't a lot of players up there yet. It's only a handful. And most of them have spent money because it takes a lot of time and resources to get there. So don't feel like you have to push, especially if you are free to play or only spend a little bit. Don't feel rushed. There's plenty of time in this game. Build up so that your sanctuary can sustain growth and you're strong for where you're at. And that's perfectly acceptable. So let's quickly go into figuring out troops, if you go into the fighter camp, it will show you exactly what level the next tier, it doesn't tell you the tier, it tells you the name of that troop, but what the next tier troop unlocked level requires. So for instance, captains are at level 26. Those are tier 9 troops. Your veterans are tier 8, and that's at level 22. So expect, as you can see, once you hit 22, it slows down a little bit, because from 7 to 8 isn't that hard, only 19 to 21, or excuse me, 19 to 22, but then from 8 to 9, 9 to 10, 10 to 11 becomes 4 headquarters upgrades, and that requires a lot of resources and a lot of buildings to match that upgrade before you're allowed to do it. So that's when kind of the bottleneck occurs and you're going to slow down. So hitting headquarters level 25, like I said, is a big deal. It unlocks cubes, and it sets you up for unlocking tier 9s. You don't have to rush there. Take your time. Try to get up to level headquarters level 22. Tier 7s are actually very, very effective troops, believe it or not, for most purposes. Tier 8s are going to give you a little boost, and then Tier 9s is what you want to shoot for. So once you hit Tier 7, it's okay to slow down a little bit, save up your resources, make sure you're doing the best that you can overall, and then try to make a big push to Tier 8. Save a little bit more and make that big push to tier 9. Once you're at tier 9, expect to stay there for some time. It's 4 headquarters levels, but they are big upgrades and require lots and lots and lots of resources. So don't feel rushed, and fighters, shooters, riders, and vehicles all upgrade at the same time. They all have the exact same tier level. So, you know, tier 10s are level 30 regardless, but you just so you know, once you get your headquarters level 30, then you have to get the camp up to get that next tier of troop. But as you can see, in my might ranking, going to the commander record again, most of mine come from troops, and that's because I have 1,000,000 troops. 95% of them are tier 9 troops. So that's where most of that comes from. You can also see that I'm fairly consistent with my construction, and this is your buildings, your farms, lumber mills, your gear factory, research center, all of those things play a factor into your construction, including your headquarters level. That's 15 million might. It's the 3rd highest number on my list. So you can see where my might comes from. So when you're upgrading and you're trying to improve your might, look at your commander record to see what exactly is affecting your might the most. Look at your improved might. Where are you low on numbers comparatively to other people, to other ratings, and try to focus on those areas that you can excel at. If you have tons of resources and you don't have a lot of troops, boost your troops. If your headquarters almost maxed out, your construction's almost maxed out, save and move up to the next level. Make sure that you're consistently moving your headquarters forward, but allowing your other buildings to kind of keep up with it. Don't let too fall behind with your construction. One, because it will affect your might a little bit, but also because those next upgrades do require similarly leveled stuff. Just as an example, to get from headquarters level 29 to 30, I have to have both my wall and my shooter camp at level 29. So you don't want those too far behind. If my shooter camp was all the way down at 25, I'm going to have a lot of upgrading to do before I can even worry about saving all these massive amounts of resources. So that being said, guys, I hope that helps. I want you to understand how to find this information for yourself and pick and choose what you think is best. And then I'll have other videos on specific topics that relate to might. And most videos, almost every video that I do is in some way related to increasing your might, because it directly relates to improving one area or another. If it's military, if it's heroes, whatever the case may be, all of these factors improve your might. Just know you will find spots as you're increasing your might that you feel like you're just not getting anywhere and it's taking time. Those are the bottlenecks. They do happen. They're there for a reason. It helps prevent players from jumping too far ahead of other players, and it allows for kind of a mutual growth type of thing, and for competitiveness, and of course for monetization, because then people that are impatient are hopefully as far as the company is concerned, going to spend money to jump ahead. And that's an acceptable way to do it if you feel like that's what you want to do. At any rate, guys, I really hope this video helps. Please put your questions and comments in the section below. As you may have seen from multiple videos that I've done, I do answer these questions and in video format when at all possible. If I do reach that 500 subscriber mark, which hopefully I'll hit soon, then I do want to do a live Q&A, and I'll have to figure out how to set that up. At any rate, like and subscribe, and hopefully I'll get to do that soon for you guys. Please put your comments in the questions and comments in the section below, and I'll do my best to answer them. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching.